disputed. If you don't have money, it will definitely be dishonored if there was no money in the account. But we still didn't agree on the system of refunding, because if we are getting into a business, we all know the risks that are involved. So the matter was referred to the justice system. It was ordered that I should refund that money, which I have done according to the court's judgments.
And there were no other safeguards you could provide as an advocate of the High Court to your partner other than a guarantee of a check?
That was the agreement that was there, and this had nothing to do with the legal process. It was a business that we are doing off the legal business.
So you agreed to guarantee by placing a check?
Yes, because it's me who started the business earlier, so we want someone to put in some money. We've agreed you put, but that is the guarantee I put. But at the time they chose to have that deposited, I was not aware of it. But it was still disputed as to whether I disputed the fact that it is our business. If it's not doing well, then we should do it until such time when it is doing well for us to get our funds. But I believe in the process of the court. We went to the court made a determination, which I agreed with.
So provision of a check was a dishonest approach to this business?
It was by agreement of parties.
Yeah, but there was no money in the bank.
You see, that was supposed to be like I would give you my title and tell you, in the event that I'm not able we are not able to succeed, then you can come back you can come back and use that title as a security or logbook. So, but at the time we get to that point, then there's a process through which you do that. So there was no specific dating on that check that it would be paid on that specific date. It was supposed to be security. In the event this business goes like this and you feel that you want to pull out, then you would inform me, and then I would ensure there are funds available. But I disagreed as to the point where we were saying that it is our business and it wasn't doing so well. So we resorted into the court process.
And the court found you to be on the wrong?
Yes.
Okay, Prof.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wanjiku. I would just...
And just to, Chair, just to state that that was through a civil process.
Yes, I know it's civil.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Wanjiku, I would just like to follow from where Bore and the Chair have left, because you know the country is looking for a chair who has the highest form of integrity. A candidate told us here that you should be like Caesar's wife. Unblemished. The chair has asked you successive questions on this check. I want to follow up. Did it have a date? Did it have an amount? Those two.
It had an amount, but it didn't have a date.
It didn't have a date?
Yes.
So it is Kimungi who put the date?
Yes, at the time it was taken to the bank, yes.
Was that the agreement? What was the agreement?
The argument was we had a dispute as to whether at that specific time, then I should be able to refund the money. But then, rather than us coming to a conclusion on it, took the check that was there as security and chose to deposit it.
Just make me understand, why would, let's assume I'm Kimungi, I'm in an agreement with you, and we have agreed that in case of anything, A, B, and C, why would I have to hold the check without a date? Why would it be that at the time that we need to sort it out, you would then issue me the check unless you are going to be out of the country? Just make me understand. It's just,
like
I just want to see the logic.
It's more like you would give a logbook to
Yes.
someone
Yes.
as security.
Yes.
We are doing this together. If in the event that there are issues that happen, then I'll be able to use that logbook to be able to claim back my money. So at the time when you decide now, this person we are not able to do this business together, then that person, the best that would have happened is, rather than have that check deposited, is come back to me, or we come to a compromise where we say, I am not going to be a member of this business, give me back the money that I put in. And actually, if you look at it, it wasn't just the amount that was in the check. It was more than that. I had already given back some of it because at that time the business was making
very well. Very well. I've heard you.
Yes. So it was not through a dishonest system on my part to be able to do that. It is that it was done without my knowledge, first of all. Because if you deposit a check and I don't know about it, I would expect you to tell me you are depositing so that I also ensure if it's moving money from another account to that one or it's moving money from wherever, then it is there and it doesn't become dishonored. But for me, I feel that that should have been handled in a better way.
Was there a written agreement to that effect?
No.
Yeah, that's
it was a gentleman's agreement.
That's why I was telling you, let's leave it, because the more you go, then the more I interrogate, because the way you're explaining it, if there was a written agreement, then we would say that he breached that agreement. But you are saying that there was no agreement written to that effect. So let's leave it to rest there.
Yeah.
You told us you are the proverbial Wanjiku. You have the name Wanjiku.
Yes.
That every time the country talks of Wanjiku, of the Constitution, it's that, I know you know that it's that grassroots person. That's how Wanjiku was used.
Yes.
That local citizen down somewhere in Mandera, down somewhere in Turkana, down somewhere in Lamu, deep in the hinterlands of Kitui. That's the Wanjiku. This Wanjiku Manegene, if she's made chair, she's a lawyer, she's already done a lot of management on health issues, she's a big-time consultant. If she's made chair, demonstrate to her us how, other than just having the name Wanjiku, she would be the embodiment of the aspirations of the ordinary Kenyan that is usually referred to as Wanjiku.
Okay, as I had stated in my intro, I have done a lot of issues from the civic part of it. When that name was coined, I was by President Moi during the making of the Constitution. I was actually a student, and I was not happy with the use of my name in that capacity. And I was very happy when the cartoonists were able to switch the narrative to say that it is the Wajiko's Constitution. So Wajiko, I am Wajiko by virtue of being a Kenyan. I am very easy to interact. I find it very easy to interact with Wajiko on the ground, to the extent that I will leave this room, wear a pair of jeans, and you'll find me interacting and talking to Wajiko on the ground. So I believe while I may have gone on to get an education and get involved in other issues, my democratic aspiration as a Kenyan still lie within that space of Wanjiku. So I have, like I've said, been involved in a lot of stakeholders' engagement and public participation. So I would ensure that Wanjiku, Halima, Chelono, all of them are involved in this process. And I would ensure that there is transparency in the process of, in the processes of IEBC to ensure, and then I would also ensure that Wanjiku is kept is the communication with Ajiko is very transparent so that they are able to know what is happening in IEBC. We want to do mass voter registration. We are doing it between this and that day. Then you ensure that it's all over the social media, that the information is communicated to Ajiko in the language that they understand. And having been that to Ajiko at some point, then I'm able to associate and know what the needs of Ajiko would be.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
The last question from me,
yeah,
again, touches on integrity. What are the core values that guide your decisions when faced with morally gray areas in professional life?
Sorry, Mary?
What are the core values that guide your decisions when faced with morally gray areas in your professional life?
Okay, my core values stem with, first of all, I believe in the rule of the law. I would be able, where there are gray areas, then I would look to ensure that the decisions made speak to the intended or the intention of the law. I would ensure that I have, I'm able to have transparency in my dealings so that people are able to understand where I am coming from. And the issue of effectiveness and efficiency in the running of the business or affairs of the of the IEBC. Also, I have, like I've said again, my leadership skills have been very good. I'm able to arrange, to organize people, organize assignments, to be able to ensure that we get the results that are required. And working with USAID actually taught me a lot of issues in terms of timelines, delivery within specific times. You are paid for what you have delivered. You're not paid just because you're supposed to have been at work that day. You must be able to prove it. Actually, it's paid per hour. You must be able to account for each hour of what you have been doing. So I bring a system that is, I'm able to work under pressure, sometimes working during weekends and long working hours, just to be able to deliver what is required of me.
Thank you, Chair.
Before you come back with some two short questions, I'd like to ask Madam Koki to do a follow-up, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Wakili, there are two statements that you made that have made me to come back to clarify. The first statement was that commissioners, like judges of the Supreme Court, can write dissenting opinions on what they saw in reference to what happened in Bomas. I want to seek clarification, and perhaps for Kenyans and members of the panel here, that in an election, let's take, for example, the presidential elections that made the Cherera Four to leave Bomas and to dissent, was because of they disputed the results that were announced. The law is very clear that a presidential candidate wins when they garner 50 plus 1% and 25% in 24 of the votes cast in 24 counties. In that regard, if the chair is on his or her own, and there are three commissioners on this side saying that the presidential candidate has won according to the Constitution and the law, and the three commissioners are saying the presidential candidate has not won. What are you saying? That the three can say to Kenyans that they disagree, and the others can say they agree? Then what?
Okay. What I'm saying is that I would propose amendments to the law that allows the dissenting. We may not use dissenting as is used in the Supreme Court, dissenting as is used in the Supreme Court, but I have a reason why I am leaving Bomas. I'm running away. And that is what caused disunity within Kenyans, because they don't know why. It is not somewhere. It is, I would be proposing that it is put in writing. Why have I left? Why don't I agree with this process? So that all this information then, when you go to the Supreme Court, it's presented there for the court to make a decision. Also, to build confidence of IEBC within Kenya. Because when we have a commission of 7 people, and 6 of them decide to abandon, it is not what is there under the law. It is what is created or what the people of Kenya see. about the IEBC. So how do we make it easier for the people of Kenya to be able to understand what is happening? You have seen the Supreme Court is able to calm Kenya when it goes there, because there are already systems that have been set on how to handle even where judges disagree on a judgment. So those are the kind of proposals I would be making. They may not mirror exactly what is there at the Supreme Court, but there needs to be a system through which commissioners don't walk away. They have a system through which they can communicate to Kenya that this is why we are saying we are on this side. And before the results are released, then they should be given that opportunity to talk to Kenya. That will create unity within the people of Kenya. I don't think that would affect the legitimacy, because it's the same way. We have a dissenting judge. That does not interfere with the legitimacy of the judgment they make, that is made by the majority. What I'm saying is the reason we have so many political wrangles and crashes within Kenya is because people don't trust that the system that was used. So, because I, as a commissioner, just disappeared from this system. I did not tell Kenyans. That communication is very integral to the people of Kenya, to tell them these are the results. And then we still have another arbiter, who is the Supreme Court, who will be able to look through all these statements that are made by these commissioners while making a decision as to whether the election was free and fair. But walking away creates disunity. It creates the image that that whole activity was not free and fair.
Thank you very much. The second point you raised was very interesting.
Before you vacate that, this touches on the point that FCPA and we asked you. The result at the tallying center is mathematical. It's a figure, and there cannot be two figures. And of course, you are conscious of Justice Mcherure et al. Ruling on the Maina Kiai case, yes, that the results are as announced at the polling station.
Yes.
So I'm wondering why the chair would be encouraging part of the commissioners to write a dissenting opinion on what? Because the figures are mathematical.